Are you aware of the hidden spells of the English language? Why do our words even matter? You see, words are powerful spells that can literally change your reality. In this video, I'm going to shine a light on what you're really speaking into existence through etymology. What is etymology? Etymology is the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history, or his story. The English language has many hidden and secret spells in which you can use to empower or disempower yourself with. One of the first things they teach us at school is how to read and write. In order for us to be able to read and write, we have to learn skills such as spelling and grammar. Grammar is based off the old French word grimoire, which means magic book of spells. The alphabet is just symbols put in different sequences that create spells. When creating sentences, you are sentencing someone to your spell. A sentence is to give someone a term. With every word you speak, you are literally casting a spell, a curse of cursive serving like a prison term. It takes dissect it and look at it from many different angles. Words can be viewed forwards, backwards, phonetically, etymologically, with numerology, and split to arrange different anagrams. All languages are a single confused babble mixing different grammatical and phonetic fractals. In other words are vibrations. Words have power. Words can change your reality. Words can make or break you. That's why they say that even though your tongue has no bones, it is strong enough to break a heart. So be careful with the words you speak to yourself and others. Understanding etymology and word spells can help you to spell without cursing yourself and others. Notice how I said understand and not understand. To understand means to stand under one's authority. No one stands above or below you, me, or anyone. To understand is to stand from within. You see, the basic tool for manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. If you can control the meaning of the words, you can control the people who must use the words. To give you an example, when you are purchasing a property, you have to sign a contract with your lawyer. Even though the terms and conditions are written in English, it can seem like gibberish to most. This is because it is written in legalese format to confuse those that are signing the contract. It's all just a manipulation on linguistics, and that is the con. A con is to deceive someone by lying or tricking them into believing something. The word mortgage is derived from the old French word which means death pledge. That's why it takes you approximately 30 years to pay it off. About the same amount of time for someone that has been sentenced to life imprisonment. And I wonder why so many people call this world we live in the Matrix, or Mars tricks, the mother's tricks. In order for the trick to be played, one must tune into their television, tells lies to your vision. That's why it's called a television program, because your subconscious mind is being programmed. The question is, what sort of information is your mind being programmed with? So for most people that want to stay informed with the latest news, they tune into their favorite news channel and watch the latest broadcast of those casting abroad to cast their spells. To channel is to tune into a certain frequency and channel their favorite programs. To make channeling easier, they created the remote control so they could control you remotely. In Hollywood, they call it movie magic. After watching your favorite programs or movies, you have the option to see the movie cast. If we look at the term Hollywood, it actually derives from the holly tree. The holly tree was used by druids who were known for being priests, witches, and also wizards who used its branches to craft their magic wands for casting spells in ancient times. These rituals still go on today. Hollywood movies are forms of sorcery using psychology, subliminal messages, and manifestation through what is called lesser magic and bewitchment. Some even use the term law of attraction. That's why actors and actresses use scripts in movies as they speak things into existence. Even the news reporters are reading scripts as they broadcast their latest information from around the world or from your local government. They are all just actors and actresses playing their role in programming you, whether they are conscious of this knowledge or not. When we break down the word government, we get govern and mint. Mint is derived from the Latin word mente, which means mind. In other words, mind control. If you want to dive deeper into mind control, then I would suggest researching Project MK Ultra, which was a CIA mind control program. You may also be thinking, this sounds like one big conspiracy, although that word was invented by the CIA as well, to try and confuse, ridicule, and disqualify any alternative information that contradicted the main narrative or script. Now, when most people aren't watching their televisions, they are waking up each morning and heading to work. A wake is a funeral party for the dead. At the beginning of each day, most people say, "Good morning." Phonetically, morning sounds the same as mourning, which is the state of expressing your sorrow for the dead when you attend a wake. So every single day, so many people are taking part in a hidden ritual, which is a ritual against life. For most people, waking up for work each day can be a hard thing. To go a little deeper with the etymology, breaking down the word work, we can get the phonetic sound of war, W-A-R, and K, which is the 11th letter in the English alphabet. This can represent the twin pillars of our minds. So to go to work is to go to war with our minds. And I can go much, much deeper with the etymology, but for now, we'll walk through it slowly together. The average 9 to 5 worker goes to work during the weekdays to earn a living at their job. Phonetically, earn sounds the same as earn, and an urn is for the ashes of the dead. A job is the Hebrew word for persecuted. Some people even refer to their jobs as undertakings. And from that, we get undertaker. An undertaker is a person who prepares dead bodies for burial or cremation and making arrangements for funerals. And to do all this, you would have to be in the weekdays from the weekdays to earn a living. During the week, we become weaker until it's the weekend. After all, you are getting the weak end of the deal. During the weekend, many people turn towards drinking alcohol. Alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-kul, which is a body-eating spirit. People often refer to alcohol as booze or spirits, which is synonymous with spirits who try to scare you. Boo! And don't ask me why some people refer to alcohol as getting on the piss. So, what the fuck does all of this really mean? Does this mean that we should all just keep our mouths closed and say nothing? Well, from what I've learned, it's not always about the words we say, but the energy and intent we put behind our words. In saying that, we can all become a lot more self-aware with the words that we speak into existence if we are to change our realities. Words create images for our subconscious mind, so we have to be aware of the double meanings. For example, I'm sick of that person, or I'm tired of living like this. What happens when you are in those situations? You feel sick and tired, right? Our subconscious mind takes everything literally. Words are the commands that govern the subconscious mind. So never talk down to yourself, even if you're just joking, because your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference. So just remember that words are electromagnetic vibrations and they have power. In order to regain your true, authentic authority, you must learn, unlearn, and relearn what you think you know about this reality. There is a huge energetic and cosmic shift happening all around the world right now. We can all either raise our vibrations with Mother Nature and align ourselves with the new vibrations of the earth, or remain enslaved and disempowered by trying to hang on to the old paradigm. There are entities in this world who want to keep you trapped within your own mind and feel you cannot be trusted to govern and think for yourself. They believe you are dangerous, and so they take it upon themselves to do the thinking for you. And I say you are dangerous, especially when you are operating from your heart space and you are in total alignment with your higher self. There is no bigger force than the power of love. If you ever want to get to the truth of most sources, sorcery, then look and listen to the words that people cast. It is time to start listening to your own truth within and discover who you really are, why you're here, and what you are truly capable of. You are a multidimensional being. You are immortal, infinite, limitless, and divine. You don't need anyone to govern your mind. Turn off your television. All it does is install fear within your subconscious mind and lower your vibration. It's time to trust yourself again. Be your own leader and lead yourself. It's time to reclaim your authority and be your true, authentic self. We change the world by changing ourselves from the inside out. So be the ripple effect of unconditional love. Now, if you haven't done so already, add me on Instagram.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat before I start, because I know sometimes I be getting started and y'all can't hear me. Just put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. All right. So I'm excited about today's presentation. When I was putting it together, it's just like more and more information just kept coming to me. So I'm very excited to share what I have, because this information is going to give you guys the clarity that y'all need, not only in this process, but just in life in general. And if y'all know, Y'all all know that I care about making people, not making, but I care about people being their best selves. So whatever I can do to aid or assist in that, I'm all for it. And it's not just in one process or one way or another. It's just a whole holistic approach of people just becoming better. Because if you do want to see change, like the video said, you have to first become what you want, right? Because everything is a reflection of each other. Everything that you experience on your day-to-day, every person that you experience on your day-to-day, those people, those experiences are a reflection of what is inside of you, your internal atmosphere. So if you are constantly stressed out and afraid, and it's time for you to step back, step into yourself, literally, and ask yourself, what's up? What's going on? Because only you have the answers to your problems. So when I first started this, it was always and always will be about people learning how to use their own mind again, learning to rely on themselves and not a savior. So I'm very excited to share this information with you guys because it's going to open your mind. And I want to also go over at the end, I want to go over a Cash App contract just to show you guys how they play with us. So let me get straight into this and no more talking. The power of words. The words you speak are spells. Words contain spelling. To cast a spell is to cast words. Indeed, words are magical because they manipulate symbols to change consciousness and behavior. Words possess and deliver power. We cast words, actors, wishes, and fishing lines to bring something forward. Words can elicit powerful emotional responses, enticing violence or inducing obedience. Artfully cast words can produce experiences of what is familiar or unknown, what is real or fictional, what is true or deception. And that's how they've been able to get us for so long, because they had us in the vibration of fear through TV, like he said in the video. Not only through TV, but through our media, in general, our movies, our TV shows, our society, our news stations, like everything in the world is created to cast a spell. So they're going to put the energy that they want you guys to use to create the reality that they want. So this is why they tell you what they're going to do before they do it. Not only because it's universal law, but because they only can use your power. They don't have power. They cannot create. Okay? Written words are codes. Hold on real quick, y'all. All right, my bad, y'all. Written words are codes formed by combining symbols from a table, which is the alphabet. The symbols, letters, represent basic phonemes. I hope I can never pronounce that word, but that means sounds. So like phonics, when you're teaching, like I'm teaching my daughter how to read, and I'm also teaching my son, I'm teaching them through phonics, which is letting them hear the sounds of the word or the letter, the sounds of the letter. Because once you create that connection in their brain with the sounds of the letter, they'll be able to recognize the letter from the sound. I hope that makes sense. And then they'll be able to use those sounds to put words together. Together, they summon images, ideas, and feelings. Spoken words invoke spelling in real time. Whether words are written or spoken, their user is summoning whatever the words represent. Words are spells. And I'm asking that as a question because a lot of people don't know that. This is not common knowledge. At school, we practice spelling to decipher words. However, we are not taught that words are everyday propaganda tools for social engineering, and that the hidden meanings of specialized words are traps for the exploited populace. Words require interpretation, and countless words have more than one meaning, having been co-opted for specific purposes. Thus, there is the complex language of legalese, developed for the theater of commerce, and which requires careful deciphering. Legalese, the court's secret language. By the use of legalese words, the people of many nations have been deceived, bankrupted, and enslaved. This is because ordinary language has been interserped with trick legalese words that change the user's jurisdiction. The primary trick word is person. The definition of person was revised to include corporation in 1862. All statutes apply to legally generated persons created by the state. Artificial persons having no innate productive capacity are debtors by default. Okay? So as long as you're acting as that all caps name, which is a corporation, a person, a persona, a artificial entity, fictitious entity, as long as you're acting in that capacity, you are a debtor. So again, and I'm gonna keep saying this, everybody that keep on saying, oh, you can discharge that, you can do this, you can do that without having to correct your status. I just need somebody to explain to me how you can do that. I'm just still waiting for somebody to break that down to me, because everybody who's saying that I've asked to show actual real hard fact proof, they can't, because it doesn't make sense according to the system. I didn't create the system, right? But I am figuring it out. And as far as we've been going, with all of our studies so far, if anybody has found out that information, share it. Other jurisdictional trick words include understand. Do you understand means stand under my authority. Resident, voter, driver, and public. All things public are of the state, including its artificial persons. Less obvious words have been advanced for their psychological effect. The systemic and repeated use of servile words conditions a population to accept and practice servile behavior. We, the people, are taught to submit, petition, and to appeal to our public servants. And for those of you who don't know what the definition of servile is, it sounds a lot like servant, right? So it can't be too different, right? So I just added that definition just, for those who might not know. And it has two definitions, and they're both horrendous. The first one is having or showing an excessive willingness to serve or please others. He bowed his head in a servile manner. And then in subservient is similar, right? And then the next one is of or characteristic of a slave or slaves, the servile condition of the peasants. So that's basically what that means. And they confused us on purpose. We are not taught the critical difference between a person and a man or woman, nor are we taught that the law of the sea refers only to legal fictions in admiralty maritime jurisdiction, serving commerce, while the law of the land refers to lawful facts and the common law jurisdiction serving men and women. Y'all are men and women. Y'all are not persons or people, really. Even though they say we the people, you are not a person. And people is what, like a plural noun for person. All you doing is just switching a word around, but it all still holds the same meaning. You got to look at the etymology of the word person, and it goes back to the word persona. And persona is Latin, and it means actor. So all of us essentially are acting in this script, this game, this movie, whatever you want to call it. We're all essentially actors. You just got to figure out how you want to act. Because right now, you're acting as a debtor. But you don't want to do that. Now that you have the knowledge, you want to learn how to act as a creditor so that you can be the sovereign that you are. Some of the most powerful words for living people are man, woman, consent, private, property, administer, notice, require, verify, claim, trespass, injury, remedy, restoration, damages, and charge. For example, a woman's children were seized by the court. She subsequently went to an administrative court reclaiming her children by stating, listen to this, y'all, literally, you can go to court and speak the right language and get out of stuff. That is how simple this is, because the way that legalese is set up is set up to confuse you to hand over your jurisdiction. This is what she said. I, a woman, believe that my property is being administered without my consent, and I require the immediate restoration of said property, or I will be charging $1 per second until the remedy is given. Note, she never used the word children and would have lost if she did. She used her given first name only in court documents, and if asked for her full name, she would add family of, as in Jane, family of Smith. Your property includes everything that comes from your energy, which is your offspring. The powerful words she used were woman, property, administered, consent, require, restoration, charging, and remedy. Learning keywords and phrases is essential if you wish to establish your living standing as a man or woman possessing and exercising your unalienable rights. This is how I was able to get 3 serious traffic tickets dismissed, because I used the proper words. I do not consent. If I don't consent and I'm using the proper words as a sovereign, there's nothing that they can do to get past that, because I am exercising unalienable rights of the person that I helped. Now, this is the difference between words for servants and words for sovereign. And we got to come out of the blue. So everything that is in the blue is for a servant. And those words are person, birthed into commerce, registered, artificial, fictional, dead, creature of the state, public in the public, member of the public, debtor, taxpayer, limited, request, submission, application, appeal, petition, plead, beg, permit, because public servants need permits. And words for sovereign are man, woman, born into world, recorded, natural, organic, living flesh and blood, private in the private, we the people, creditor, grantor, unlimited, require, claim, demand, order, declare, charge, witness, notice, because private sovereigns issue notices. Servants have privileges and benefits. They are the defendant. Violation, infringement, infraction, offense, penalty, ticket, fine, misdemeanor, punishment, forfeiture, confiscation, sentence, fine, impound, seize, foreclose, debt money, because persons are surety for interest-bearing debt. Settle the account. In a debt-based system, it is not possible to pay, only to settle with promises to pay. Legal, dishonor, injustice, certificate, register, license, fees, fee simple, owner, legal interest, user with liability, trustee, because you always pay, because that's what you are as a debtor. You're a trustee. Now, on the sovereign side, you have rights, property, claimant, trespass, damage, injury, harm, suffering, breach, barratry, wrongdoing, remedy, restitution, redress, restoration, cure, relief, reparation, damages, dues, sovereign money, because people are the working credit of the nation. So you're able to create money using negotiable instruments. Paying the bill in a sovereign money system. It is possible to pay a true bill and to set off against an account. Lawful, honor, justice, title, record, entitlement, allodial, controller, controlling interest, which is the holder with control, and beneficiary, because you're served by the trustee. And the trustee is only supposed to do things that are a benefit for the beneficiary, hence the word beneficiary. Back to the servant side, you have trust fiduciary, because public servants have a fiduciary duty to serve we the people. This is why they have made you a debt slave, because the debt that you're paying or supposedly paying off, which you're really not, but you're not paying it off with actual money. You're paying it off with your transmitting utility, your sweat equity, your labor, right? I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. I looked at something and lost my train of thought. Let's go back. So accommodation party, corporation, fiction, U.S. citizen, incorporated government, terms and conditions, contract, the Constitution of the United States of America. Of indicates corporation. So anytime you see something of, it's indicating that that is a corporation. Name of anything that is on the servant side. Actor and role of a person. Signature, citizen, resident, voter. Commerce is business between corporations. Income, driver, address, residence, admiralty, maritime jurisdiction, law of the sea. And on the sovereign side, you have trust, executor or executrix. Private sovereigns can administer their estate name as the holder in due course. And that is what you want to do. That's what you want to be. You want to be a private banker. Secured party. And that's why people say secured party creditor. They're merging two different terms together. Secured party is one thing, a creditor is another, but that is the status that you want. And so they just merge it together and say secured party creditor. So if you hear anybody say there's no such thing as a secured party creditor, it's not in that sense, but it is, because you are a secured party and you become the creditor again. I hope that clears up any confusion. Nation, fact, state, citizen, unincorporated, government, oath of office, bond, the Constitution for the United States of America. But do you see United is in lowercase letters? And you see the Constitution for instead of the Constitution of. For indicates nation. Appellation instead of name, because only men and women have appellations. Corporations have names. Agent for a person. Autograph instead of a signature. National instead of a citizen. Sovereign instead of a resident. Elector instead of voter. And then you're in trade instead of commerce. Trade is business between living people. Commerce is business between corporations. And instead of having income, you have earnings. Instead of being a driver, you're a traveler. Instead of having an address, you have a location. Instead of having a residence, you have an abode. And instead of being on Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction Law of the Sea, you're under Common Law Jurisdiction Law of the Land. Okay? Now, for all of those people, I'm going to read the IRS and what the definition of income according to the IRS is. So all wages, salaries, and tips you receive for performing services and as an employee of an employer must be included in your gross income. Is wage and income the same? Income may have different definitions depending on the context. For example, taxation, financial accounting, or economic analysis. For most people, income is their total earnings in the form of wages and salaries, the return on their investments, pension distributions, and other receipts. What is considered a form of income? Generally, you must include in gross income everything you receive in payment for personal services, in addition to wages, salaries, commissions, fees, and tips. This includes other forms of compensation, such as fringe benefits and stock options. What is considered income? Taxable earned income includes wages, salaries, tips, and other taxable employee pay. It can also include union benefits and long-term disability benefits received prior to retirement age. Non-cash fringe benefits received from your employer may also be considered earned income. So, for everyone that is saying that wages are not income, according to the IRS, wages are a taxable income. If it can be taxed, it is considered income. If you are a citizen, you are a taxpayer, a debtor, and a debt slave. I didn't make the rules, so don't get upset with me. I have so many people arguing with me on my I did a video on TikTok about trust and what it's for. And I said, do you know why the people that go to work and work the hardest are taxed the most? And I have some people not listening to the whole video in full, probably listen to the first couple of seconds of the video about what I just said. And they're like, we technically don't earn wages. Wages is not no, we earn wages. Wages are not an income. If it can be taxed, it is an income. Hence the name income tax. So that's just the dead that, because I'm so tired of people who don't do research, listening to other people, and then trying to combat with me like I made this up. I didn't make this stuff up. Now we're going back to the blue side is servant and the yellow side is sovereign. On the blue side, you're going to be on the servant side, you're going to be administrative. You're going to be going to administrative court, and that's the dispute resolution service for consenting parties. So when people get put on child support, 9 out of the 10 times that they're being put on child support, unless it's through family courts, if it's through social services, like your child's mother put you on or your child's father put you on, and it's through family services, and they send you that initial first letter that telling you that you are summoned to court, whatever. Do you realize the power that you hold by having that letter? They tell you in the letter that you have 30 days to contest. You don't have to agree and just get on child support. First of all, it's administrative court. An administrative court needs your consent to even take place. So if you put in writing that you do not consent to this proceeding and you request discovery, your whole case will be thrown out. You will not owe child support. It's literally that simple. But people don't like reading. And that's why I'm going to show you guys briefly a contract later on after this presentation, showing you how sneaky they are because people don't like reading. And it's only because they've been put through the school system that the bankers funded. So it made you not like reading. It's not that like you don't like reading because you don't like reading. You don't like reading because you've been taught not to like reading, because they want to keep you in the dark. So on the blue side, again, de facto, which means in practice, ens legis is an artificial being and foreigner. On the sovereign side is the court of record, which is common law court convened, with a jury of one's peers, which people that know me, people who know my character, right? People who can actually vouch for me and say, no, that don't seem like something she would do. Not strangers that I don't know that have been summoned to jury duty against their will, but they go because they're fearful of being arrested. Of course, they're going to do anything. Of course, they're going to comply if they're trying to push a narrative, right? Again, back on the sovereign side, you're de jure in law instead of de facto in practice. Your sui juris, I can never say these words, sui juris, these words are weird, instead of ens legis, and you're of your own rights. And instead of being a foreigner, you're a native, a national, because this land is yours. Words are magic. We all use language every day without even thinking of it, including signs, symbols, the written word, and the spoken language has shaped the magical landscape perhaps since the first man did an action with an accompanying sound in the hope of affecting change. Words and language are indeed pure magic. It is how we share ideas, how we communicate, how we affect change and inspire change in others and in ourselves. Words have power, and the power behind them is hidden from us in order for lawyers, judges, police, and corporations to trick us out of our jurisdiction. Knowing the definitions behind the words spoken in the theater of commerce will give you the leg up to never unknowingly hand over your sovereign jurisdiction, because literally it's just words. So if you know how to speak your words with power, with authority, because you are the authority, with knowing who you are and actually having the knowledge of what you're saying, you will never, ever give up your jurisdiction in any circumstance. Words are magical. Today, when we think of magic and spells, we tend to combine words with others of similar meaning without really understanding the distinction. For example, in magic, people often use the terms amulet and talisman interchangeably to mean, broadly speaking, some magically infused item. And broadly speaking, they are, but each term has its own subtle meaning too. And this meaning is important when you get down to the nitty-gritty of spell work. So, for example, a talisman is an object that is worn by the individual and is said to infer a certain power of energy to that person, whereas amulets ward off unwanted or negative energies. When you consider this nuance, you can see how important the distinction becomes when it comes to practical spell work. With this in mind, let us consider different types of magic spells that use language, words, and symbols in very specific ways. Some of the things that I'm going to say is going to shock you guys. Word breakdown. Charms. Now, not the common meaning of today that views charms as items to draw luck and good fortune, but instead objects inscribed with written words or spells. In its most basic form, this might just be a piece of paper with a word, phrase, or symbol written on it and carried on the person. Driver's license. These were usually protective or used to draw a particular energy or item. Blessing. These can be from any religious or spiritual tradition or background and are usually spoken words intended to bring good fortune upon the recipient. But the true meaning of this word is a curse, to consecrate, meaning to dedicate yourself to something or someone. So is being blessed really a good thing? And you know how many people tell you, bless you, God bless you. They don't know what they're saying. They're cursing you. Legal English, aka legalese. Legal English is a register of English used in legal writing. It differs from day-to-day spoken English in a variety of ways, including the use of specialized vocabulary, syntactic constructions, and set phrases such as legal doublets. The definition of legalese is the formal and technical language of legal documents that is often hard to understand. Literally, that's the definition. An example for that definition is the typed pages were full of confusing legalese. Examples of legalese. Now listen to this. And witness whereof the parties hereunto have set their hands to these presents as a deed on the day, month, and year herein before mentioned. Really, like, who understands that? Translation. Two people signed a legal contract on a specific date. Why didn't the contract just say on specific date the parties included in this contract have agreed and signed? Because if contracts were written in plain English, they wouldn't be able to hide the fact that you are the surety for said contract. The breakdown of legalese. Legal English is extremely dense and exclusive. It is often described negatively as legalese. Corporations, lawyers, judges, and police use this language to gain jurisdiction over the people. Legalese is an invalid language structure because it violates the laws of parse syntax grammar. Bottom line, legalese is spoken nonsense used as the script for the theater of commerce. Legal experts and businesses use legalese at times to deliberately make concepts obscure or in overly technical phrases to win legal arguments. Legalese is a common noun often used in a negative sense. The ese suffix suggests that legalese is a language, but because it's not a language in its own right, the word legalese intentions ridicule a writing style so complicated and impenetrable that it seems like a foreign language to the reader. All done on purpose to violate our rights and keep us in the dark about our true status as creditor. Why is legalese considered a convoluted legal language? Legalese is the convoluted legal language used in legal documents. Even though it's the frequent focus of disdain, it remains in common use. In a new study, researchers found that lawyers have a hard time understanding contracts written in legalese compared to simplified writing. Upcoming lawyers don't even comprehend legalese, but somehow we're supposed to. The system is rigged and we are on the losing side. Lawyers study law for 14 years or longer to literally understand the law, and they still don't comprehend legalese. Get this. Lawyers also rated contracts in plain English as higher quality and just as legally enforceable. And trust me, I know I have several businesses and I never use legalese in any of my contracts. Never. It's no need to. I want everything to be clear. Lawyers are likely reusing the same old legal documents used in the past. Thus, legalese likely persists due to a mix of legal precedents and good old-fashioned laziness. What he said. As Robert Benson, and Robert Benson was an emeritus professor of law at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles. He wrote, legalese is dull, pompous, filled with long sentences, misplaced phrases, and esoteric words while simultaneously lacking pronouns. It's adverb, verb, adverb, verb, adverb, verb, which makes it violate the laws of true spoken language. This all makes it very hard to understand. Benson puts his disdain for legalese on full display in a 1985 article calling for its demise. This is what he said. It is not merely different as prose styles go. It is strange in the extreme, off the edge of the range of normal prose styles, even in a diverse society. It is so out of touch with ordinary language that, in the hands of a powerful, exclusive profession, it becomes at best a symbol of alienation and at worst a tool to intimidate and exploit the public. So if you don't know what prose styles are, I got the definition for you guys. Prose, also pronounced as prose, like I'm saying, it is defined as writing that does not follow a meter or rhyme scheme. It's writing that follows standard grammatical rules and communicates ideas in a linear, logical order. So when he said it is not merely different as prose styles go, he's just saying that it's still a language as most prose styles are, but normal prose styles have diverse society. Normal prose styles, I cannot talk today, they make sense. They communicate ideas and they can put things in order where a person can really comprehend it. Legalese is diverse. Legalese is putting words together that literally don't belong together. Legalese versus plain English. Despite Benson's best efforts to thwart his fellow lawyers' esoteric, off-putting writing over the ensuing decades, legalese is still with us. The MIT and University of Edinburgh researchers behind it carried out 2 different surveys, each of more than 100 lawyers. In the first experiment, they presented lawyers with 12 pairs of contract excerpts, one written in legalese and the other written in plain English. For each contract, they tested the lawyer's comprehension and recall. They found that lawyers were better at comprehending and recalling information from the contracts written in plain English. And this is an example of the legalese that they use. These are some contracts that they used. This one right here, they're both like tenant contracts for somebody that's moving in. And one of them is in pure legalese, where they're calling the tenant a lessee. And the other one is just straight up plain English. I will read through it, but for the sake of time, I have a lot to unpack, so I'm going to go past it. Secrets unlocked. Lawyers are choosing to use legalese, even though they don't comprehend it. In the second experiment, the researchers presented the contracts from the first experiment to a different set of lawyers and asked them to rate the overall quality and enforceability of each contract. If they would be willing to sign off on the contract as written and to assess the likelihood that a client would agree to the contract's terms, the respondents viewed plain language contracts as being of higher quality, were more likely to say that they would sign them, and predicted that clients would prefer them. Most importantly, the lawyers acknowledged that such contracts would be just as enforceable as contracts written in legalese. So why does legalese persist? After the results from both studies, it's been proven that legalese has no point. So why does it persist? Lawyers may simply draw from old pre-existing templates filled with arcane and convoluted language due to it being easier and cheaper to produce than drafting a simpler contract from scratch. Pure laziness and lack of humility for those who are on the signing end of the contracts, the people. Professor Claire Hill acknowledged this in a 2001 article. Lawyers have come up with a production process by which each lawyer can access the accumulated wisdom of many, the form. The form is typically not a form in the fill-in-the-blank sense. Rather, it is an actual contract the lawyer or someone he or she works with has used in one or more previous transactions. Are they simply recycling the same tired contracts over and over, all because they are too lazy to create a new, easy-to-comprehend contract from scratch? Or are they being lazy, or are they being paid by the banks to keep old contracts and legalese in motion to continue to keep us in the dark about the contracts we sign? Sounds like a conspiracy to me. And if you know who you are, then you know that lawyers don't get paid well by chance, just like doctors and judges. Legalese is a technical form of writing, often used by lawyers and members of the legal community to discuss legal definitions, terms, laws, and contracts. It's also known as legal jargon, legal speak, legal English, gobbledygook, and officialese. Businesses use this type of language with the hope that it will make their policies more legally sound and professional. It's also used because many companies use templates that include legalese. Literally, I always tell you guys not to use templates, especially like some things you just can't use a template for. Some stuff you can, but some things you can't. And for the things that you should be enforcing, like especially when it comes to like credit repair and stuff, templates are not a good way to go. So how is it that these lawyers are able to use those same templates that don't work for us when we use them, but they work for them? It just sounds like everything just been, everything's against us. And it's set up like that by design, because the same bankers that fund damn near everything, they do fund everything, shit. The same bankers that fund everything are the same ones that are putting the money in those lawyers, judges, doctors, polices. They're the same ones putting the money in their pocket. They're the same ones that's paying lobbyists to go and lobby outside of at different congressional meetings and stuff, so that they can get certain laws passed, so that they can continue to scam the people. It's literally a conspiracy against us. Another example of legalese. Here go another one. In no event shall company or its directors, employees, or agents be liable to you or any third party for any direct, indirect, consequential, excellent. I can't say that word. Incidental, special, or punitive damages, including lost profit, lost revenue, loss of data, or other damages arising from your use of the website or company services, even if company has been advised of the possibility of such damages. Excuse me. I can't say it right now. I've been reading all day. Translation of what I just read. That was in legalese. Now I'm going to give it to you in plain English. This clause states that the company and its employees will not be liable for any direct or indirect damages arising from using the site or company services, including financial losses or losses of data. Legalese is bad because it confuses the people and hides important messages in a difficult to read language. It also misleads the people and prevents them from learning more about laws, policies, codes, and statutes due to frustration and lack of comprehension. Legal language is often associated with the infamous fine print, where important information is buried in complicated, dense sentences. Legal speak causes the people to agree to obligations as the debtor, which makes them legally responsible for it. Furthermore, overly complicated language makes the people feel alienated, as most people outside of the legal profession aren't well versed in legal jargon, nor do they even care to be. Truth is, if lawyers, judges, and police were to use clear, plain English, we would easily catch on to the game they play with us to gain jurisdiction over us. Comprehending the differences between the language we speak and the language of commerce, legalese, will assist us in protecting, enforcing, and standing on our rights. Knowing legal English is a benefit because you can change the outcome of your circumstances just by speaking in the proper language to protect yourself in all areas of law, including credit. So as I was studying this, I told you guys I had a credit repair company, and I didn't dealt with so much legalese letters in, with doing that, because they are the letters that do work, right? But I'm starting to think of things like I'm starting to see things from a whole different perspective, because if I'm sovereign and I am the creditor and I'm a secure party, meaning that I'm above their jurisdiction, then I can draft my documents to do credit repair or anything, discharge debt, whatever. I can draft them using their language and get the outcome that I want. We have to learn how to speak on the sovereign side of language. And that's why I went over the different words that are associated with a servant and a sovereign, because we have been so conditioned to use the servant words. It sounds so weird to call yourself a traveler instead of a driver because you've been so conditioned to use that word. Use this presentation, as with all my presentations, as a study guide to help you in this process. Learning the full truth before executing anything is the only way you will successfully enforce your rights and act accordingly. So be wise above all else when it comes to legalese and law. Don't leave yet. I'm just going to go over this, but I'm about to go over contract after this. I also would just want to say thank you, because the more you know, the more you grow. And by you being here, it just says a lot about how much you want to be better. Like, we've been so conditioned to be comfortable. So just by you wanting to learn this, it's causing you to do something that is not familiar to you. It is not familiar to your brain to hear that the words you're speaking are spells, right? Try to go tell this to somebody, who doesn't know this, and they'll chew you out. If you like how I teach, consider joining my private community. Get all the steps needed, including documents, for only $10 a month at patreon.com/divinetrustbabies. But you'll be working independently. That is for anybody who wants to just get the documents and do the process independently. It's just like a forum. Get all the steps needed with examples, instructions, support, and private Telegram group for only $20 a month at divine-trust-babies.trainercentralsite.com/course/Divine Trust Babies Academy. Gain access to past study sessions from our private community for only $20 a month at divine-trust-babies.trainercentralsite.com/course/study-sessions-replays. And to purchase content, courses, and more, you can do that at linktr.ee/divinetrustbabies. All fees are donations to help keep this going. That's why I keep it at a very affordable price. Also, because I want to help people. And I know everybody can afford to pay thousands of dollars to free themselves. It shouldn't even cost that anyway. And also, I just want to say, see you next Wednesday, because I go live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, let's go over this Cash App contract. There's a company that works directly with Cash App called Persona. If any of you guys have Cash App, I want you guys to go in your app and see if they're asking you to verify your identity if you haven't done it so already. If you haven't done so already, they're going to be asking you to do that. Don't do it. The reason why is because I'm going to read this contract with this third-party company that works with Cash App, and they're the ones who are supposed to be verifying your information for Cash App. But it's very it's nefarious. It's very nefarious how they're doing this. Let me pull this up. This is their private privacy policy. And this is why it's important to read this. The company is itself. This is the crazy part. The company is called Persona, bro. I literally just was talking to you guys about Persona and what that means. Don't mind my writing. It's ugly. Let me see if I can fix it up. Persona, which means actor. Okay? Keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to read through this as brief as I can, and I'm going to break down how these companies have become more clever, because now they're using legalese mixed with plain English. It is even more confusing than them just using legalese alone. All right. Persona privacy policy. This Persona Identities Inc. Persona, we, us, or our privacy policy applies to individuals. Individual. Do you guys know what an individual is? Put it in the chat if you know what an individual is. Using the Persona service to verify their identities. Privacy policy applicable to individuals, got that word again, verifying their identity through the Persona service. Persona's customers offer the Persona service, to securely verify the identity of individuals, you. Persona processes personal data of individuals at the direction of its customers. This section of the privacy policy explains how Persona under the direction of its customers processes personal data in order to provide the service for its customers. Do you guys, I only read the first two sentences, and does this make sense to you? It doesn't even make sense. They're confusing you at the very beginning, so you don't want to finish reading it, because all the real information is further down in the contract. Now, mind you, this privacy policy is 4 pages long. Okay. The minute that you verify your identity with Persona, you automatically agree to this. Persona data provided to Persona by customers and personal data provided to customers from Persona is subject to the customer's privacy policy. This section explains what personal data defined below we collect through the service, how we use and share that data, share. So you're giving them permission to share your data, okay? And how individuals can exercise choices regarding their personal data. And they're telling you, individuals, that you can exercise choices regarding your personal data, right? So you have the right to privacy. That's what they're telling you. You have the right to privacy. How we collect and use personal data to provide the service. This section describes the personal data we collect and how we use it in order to provide the service to our customers. Personal data means information that relates to an identified or identifiable individual. Look at that. Personal data, they're telling you. Personal data means information that relates to an identified or identifiable individual. Who has an ID? If you know, put it in the chat. If you don't, I'll tell you. The only thing that has an ID is a person, a corporation. You provide personal data to us at the direction of our customers so that our customer may verify your identity. Okay, listen. So the responsibility is on you, which means you're giving your consent, okay? Provide personal data to us, and they already defined who us is. This Persona Identities Inc., which is a corporation. When you see Persona, we, us, or our, they're talking about Persona Identities Inc. Actors. Look at this, the whole name of this business. Persona identities, actors, citizen, actors acting. That's pretty much what that means. All right, where was I? Okay. You, again, your consent, provide personal data to us, which is their corporation, at the direction of our customers. They're at the direction of our customers. So they're telling you that this contract is a third-party contract, and their customers are any software service, whatever, that chooses to use them to verify your identity. And this in this circumstance is Cash App. Cash App is their customer because this is where this privacy policy comes from them through Persona. Comes from Persona through Cash App. So the direction of the customer. So Cash App is telling them, okay, we're your customers and we need you to provide us third-party ID verification services for our customers. And this is how businesses and corporations join together as one against us. Now, so that our customer may verify your identity, so that our customer, so our is a corporation again, customer, which is another corporation, may verify your, which is your consent. Anytime they're telling you this, is they're telling you that you're consenting. Your identity, well, you already told you who has an ID. An individual has an ID. You notice the words they're using? Then they got slick because they're not using person. Now they're going to use our individual. And that's going to throw you off because you're like, oh, well, they're not using the word person. Yeah, but individual and person are pretty much the same. They're interchangeable in law, really. And or prevent fraud, excuse me. And they're using fear tactics because if you see prevent fraud, you're like, oh, yeah, let me verify my identity. I don't want anything fraudulent happening, right? In the course of performing, who performs? Corporations perform the service. We may look in the course of performing the service. They're telling you that this corporation, Persona Identities Inc., is performing a service because only corporations can perform. We may also obtain personal data from other sources, such as third-party databases, government records, and other publicly available sources. And that's where the third-party companies come in, like LexisNexis, SageStream, all those information bureaus or companies, so not bureaus, but all these information companies that are collecting your data while you're on your phone just scrolling, and they collecting cookies. They're dropping off pixels so what a pixel is, if you know anything about SEO, which is search engine optimization, when you're making websites and things like that, you have to create something called pixels. And a pixel is something that if you come on my page, you're going to pick up my pixels from my page. And wherever you go, those pixels are going to be dropped off like breadcrumbs. So any website or anything that you watch, this is why when you say something, your phone hears it, it picks up pixels. Or you looking at something, or you bought something, you're on a website or anything like that. Those pixels are how they trace your activity so that they can predict how to market to you. That is what pixels are for. It's a marketing purpose. It's all psychological so that they can understand how you think, what you like, what you're interested in, so that they can feed it back to you through cookies, through third-party databases, and through pixels and search engine optimization. That's all that is. That is all that is. Everything down to like social media contracts. When you download that app, and the minute that you download that app and agree to their terms and service, when you set up your account, you are agreeing to whatever is in their contract. And this is something even deeper. Those contracts that they get from us are negotiable instruments. We all know that, right? And the banks trade them and trade them and trade them some more, and they make more money off of them, right? We know that. But those contracts are also used in bulk to put spells over the people. This is why it's important for you to understand. I'm not going to say understand. It's important for you to comprehend the words, the spells that is inside of these contracts that you are binding yourself to. And they're telling you that you are. Let me keep going because I'm still at the top. All right. The personal data we collect varies based on what you provide, what the customer has directed us to analyze, and what the personal data is available from third parties. So they're not only going to be collecting your information, they're going to collect it from you. Then they're going to ask the customer if there's anything that they have to analyze directly. And then they're going to go on a search all over the internet, blasting your information, your personal data, to see what third parties have information on you so that they can collect. And all of this happens within a matter of seconds of you just taking a picture of yourself with your driver's license or ID in your hand, which is selfie with your ID, submitting a picture of the front and back of your ID. And I think you have to do a picture of your face alone. All of that happens within a matter of seconds of you submitting that, because your phones have retina scans. So they already have your retina scans. They have your fingerprints. They have your geometry of your face, your biometrics. They are collecting this all the time. They have your geolocation, so they know where you are. This is crazy. You may provide, again, your consent. You may directly provide, and they're telling you what you can give them. Look at that. Name. Who has a name? Who has a name? A corporation has a name. And contact information, including name, again, email address, address. Who has an address? Corporation. And phone number. Demographic data, including date of birth or birth date and age. And they're not doing it for demographic reasons, so that's a lie. Files you upload, such as tax forms and utility bills. Government documents and identifiers, such as driver's license and social security number, and photos of you, namely the selfie you provide, and from your government identification document. Government identification. What did we say about the word government? Anytime you see MENT, it is talking about your mind. So you have someone governing your mind to make you get an identification, which is a business, a corporation, to give up your jurisdiction. These contracts are deep. This is not even a crazy one. Cash App's contract is worse. This is not even Cash App's contract. This is a third party that works with them. Cash App's contract is worse. Our services may also collect the following from you, our customer or third parties. Our services may also collect the following from you, consent. Our customer, Cash App, and third parties, which is LexisNexis, Sage Streams, and all of the hundreds and thousands of information companies out there. And this is what they're telling you. Current and previous name and contact information, including name, email address, and phone number. Demographic data, including birth date and age, gender, marital status, and similar demographic details. Government documents and identifiers, such as driver's license and social security numbers. Device information. They're collecting your device information, including your IP address, which is letting them know where you are, which is your geolocation. Device type, they need to know what kind of phone you have so they can know what they can send to you. Your device's operating system, so they can know if you have the latest operating system to get the latest updates. Browser, cookie, like I told y'all, and device identifiers, and other software, including type, version, language setting, and configuration. Account information, such as details about your account with our customer or third parties. Geolocation data, told you, and biometric data, again, including a scan of your facial, anytime you see you, that's your consent. Your facial geometry based on photos you provide. For more information about biometric data, see the facial scan and biometrics information section below. Based on the personal data we collect, again, the corporation, collect from you, your consent, and other sources, we infer information about you, your consent, for identity, which is a corporation, verification, and fraud prevention purposes. Again, they're trying to scare you by saying fraud prevention purposes. I don't need y'all to do that for me. If y'all can't prevent fraud from just having a business and having people in, that's giving y'all personal information, if you can't prevent fraud naturally, then I don't need this service, because that means you're selling my information against my will, or so I think, because I agreed to it in the contract when I signed up for your service. For example, we may use certain information about you, including your IP address and home address, to inform our verification process. Some data that we collect automatically is collected through cookies and similar technologies like pixels. See our cookies section below to learn more. We use personal data to provide our customers with the service so they can verify the identity of individuals and prevent fraud. They keep saying the same thing over and over. Same thing over and over. They're beating around the bush, but they're also if I keep telling you that the sky is falling, eventually you will believe it. Eventually you'll believe that the sky is falling, right? Where am I? It's just programming you through repetition. This process is necessary to perform, again, only corporations can perform our contract with our customers, which they're telling you that because they're the ones that are performing with their customers. And I told you at the beginning, they define what our means. Our means them, Persona Identities Inc. As part of performing the services, we, again, that corporation, use personal data to improve and troubleshoot our services. Lies. How we disclose personal data. We may engage third party to assist us in providing the services, in which case we may disclose personal data to them. We may also disclose personal data to service providers, including hosting, cloud services, and other information technology service providers. So they're telling you that they're going to get your information, and then they're going to disclose your information because you consented to other third parties, which they're going to share that information with. They're going to sell your information. They're going to sell you into hosting and cloud services and other technology service providers, email communications and SMS software providers, and identity verification services, background check providers, public and private records, database providers, consumer reporting services, like I said, that's the credit bureaus, well, the so-called credit bureaus, because they're not bureaus, the fraud and identity management providers. For example, we may disclose, it's not an example. We may disclose your consent, name is a corporation, and address, corporation, to a third-party database provider in order to request information they may have about you. So we're going to go to LexisNexis and ask them, hey, did you know John Smith? I got this information from him. Is this really John Smith? And they're going to say, let me look at my database. Yeah, that's John Smith. And by the way, take this information too. Go sell it. Go make some money off of it. Pursuant to our instructions, these parties will access, process to, or store pursuant to our instructions. So the corporation's instructions, the parties that they're sharing your information with will, not may, not can, will access. So you're giving them your consent to access, process, and store, or it says or store, but they're going to do all three. Store your personal data while performing their duties. We may also disclose personal data when required to do so by law. So even if the police or law enforcement comes to them looking for you, they're going to give your information away. Facial scan and biometrics information. This is the new technology that everybody is they're not really aware of. So many people are saying we're going back into the age of Aquarius and we're going back into technology, and they're not seeing that the technology that they're displaying to us, like the flying cars and the phones and them little things them Apple things that people wearing on their eyes, them little glasses looking things, they're not realizing that technology is nothing new to them. That technology is only new to us because we forgot. They put us in a stupor. They put us in a spell of stupor to keep us from remembering. That technology was already here. All you got to do is go look up the technology from like the 1800s. They didn't already had stuff that we using now. They had cell phones. They had all of that. So the technology that they're moving forward to is blockchain, cryptocurrency, bricks, Nazar type stuff, facial scans, biometrics. Like this is where they're going to put you into the cloud because they're trying to merge man with machine. They're trying to make a super artificial, organic mix of a human. They're trying to mix artificial intelligence with original intelligence. This section, the whole reason why they're doing it is, of course, they're experimenting as always, because we're nothing but lab rats to them. But they're also doing this because they're trying to find a way to live longer, to be immortal like us. This section describes how Persona treats scans of facial geometry extracted from photos. Persona acting, so an actor acting, and they're acting as a service provider to the customer, compares the data from a scan of facial geometry extracted from the government identification document that you upload to the data from a scan of facial geometry extracted from your photos of your, again, consent face that you consent upload in order to help verify your consent identity verification. And that's their definition of verification. And may also use your information, again, your consent, including data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the government's identification document and photos of your consent face that you consent upload to detect and prevent fraud. And that's their definition of fraud prevention. The images obtained from government identification document and photos of your face that you upload and data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the government identification document and photos of your face that you upload are collected, used, and stored directly by Persona on behalf of customers as customer service provider through customer's website or app that you accessed. We're doing this because you wanted our service. If you want our service, you must comply to our rules. That's what they're telling you. And because you want this service, which was Cash App, because you wanted Cash App, now Cash App is working with us, and this is what has to happen if you want to keep Cash App. Depending on our relationship with the customer may upload your government identification document and photos of your face directly to us. So Cash App can just give your information away. Persona securely stores all photos of identity documents that you upload, photos of your face that you upload. This keep telling you that you're doing it, and data from scans of facial geometry extracted from photos of your face that you upload in an encrypted format. Persona's third-party vendors may have access to the data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the photos of your face that you upload to provide some or all of the analysis to store the data, to maintain backup copies, and to service the system on which such data is stored. Persona will permanently destroy data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the photos of your face that you upload upon completion of verification or within 3 years or your last interaction with Persona, consistent with the customer's instruction. So what Cash App says, not even what you say, unless Persona is otherwise required by law or legal process to retain the data. Persona uses so they're keeping your information for 3 years. What the possibilities that they can do with what you're giving them? China and places like that have all of this like AI technology. They are buying scans of our faces to put in their AI systems. You know that? Persona uses the reasonable standards of care within its industry to store, transmit, and protect from disclosure data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the photos of your face that you upload in a manner that is the same as or more protective than the manner in which it stores, transmits, and protects other confidential and sensitive information. Persona will not sell, lease, trade, or other than to provide. Look. They just lied to you. Persona will not sell, lease, trade, or other than to provide the verification and fraud prevention services to customer described in this policy. Persona will not sell, lease, trade, or other than to provide. They said they wasn't going to do none of this stuff, but then they said they only going to do it if it is to provide the verification and fraud prevention services to their customer described in the policy. The customer is Cash App. So if Cash App says they want to do something with that information, they can. Where am I? Otherwise, benefit from data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the photos of your face that you upload. Again, they're telling you that you consented. Other than as set forth herein. Legalese. Persona will not disclose, redisclose, or otherwise disseminate data from scans of facial geometry extracted from the photos of your face that you upload unless doing so. And then it tells you right here, completes a customer transaction. So you can do this. Completes a customer transaction requested and authorized by you or legally authorized representative, is required by state or federal or municipal ordinance, is required pursuant to a warrant or subpoena issued by a court or competent jurisdiction, or is expressly consented by you. Look, consented by you. And all of this right here is you giving up your jurisdiction, and they are aiding in you giving up your jurisdiction, because they just told you that if in the event any of these is a thing, that they're going to give you information. They're going to give it away. Choices regarding personal data. Now it's right here. It's telling you that you can opt out. And if you want to do it, then you got to go and email them here. Persona is a data process for the processing personal data on behalf of its customers. If you are an individual whose identity has been verified through Persona, please contact appropriate customers who exercising any rights that you may have under applicable law. If you have further concerns, that's how you reach out to them. Right here, they're telling you about the cookies and mobile IDs and similar technologies, like the pixels I was telling y'all about. This is what, if you read their cookie policy, I'm pretty sure you'll find some weird stuff that they're doing. I haven't even read that yet. Changes to the privacy policy. They're telling you right here that if they change it, they can change. It changes all the time, and they can change it at will. The service in our business may change from time to time. As a result, we may change this privacy policy at any time. When we do, we will post an updated version on this page, unless another type of notice is required by the applicable law. By continuing to use our service or providing us with personal data after we have posted an updated privacy policy or notified you, if applicable, you consent to the revised privacy policy and practices described in it. And then they're telling you how to contact them. If you have any questions about our privacy policy or the information practices of the service, you can email them there. If you are an individual in the EU, and you can also contact. So it's just telling you who you can contact if you're in the EU, from the EU. And then it has their business name, Persona Identities Inc., and their business location. And what did I tell you? Of is what? Of is a corporation. So, yeah. When you guys are looking at your contracts, now that you know legalese, and you know that they're like literally putting spells on us through their words, you have to enforce it. So go over your contracts. Look at what they're saying. Grab your Black's Law Dictionary. If you don't know what that word, the definition of that word is in law, you got to be able to pick apart these contracts to get out of them. And I'm talking about not just like by filing the paperwork and stuff. Of course, you're getting out of them like that. But some contracts, you're going to have to actually pick them apart, especially if you're trying to repair your credit or anything like that. But I hope that this presentation was helpful. I hope that this opens your eyes to the world that you live in. And I also hope that this helps you to really pay more attention to what you autograph or sign. So I'll be back next Wednesday, same time. And then I'll be talking about something even more deeper. Every week, the more people come, the more information I'm going to share, because I want to wake people up and have them use their brain for themselves again. No one is over you. No one is above you. No one can govern you but yourself. And that's what we need to get back to, governing ourselves and thinking for ourselves. But other than that, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm very thankful for your time, and I will see you guys again next Wednesday.